Oh, howdy all, grab yourself a beer, it's time for some Path of Exile discussion. Today I wanted to do a crafting video. One of the more popular beginner-friendly builds in Path of Exile is the Chaos Damage Over Time archetype. There's a number of ways you can play this. It's often played as an occultist, but not only, and it can use multiple different skills. Depending upon the specific numbers at the time and also people's particular play preferences, Soul Rend is an option, generally the weakest at the time I'm recording this video. Essence Drain Contagion is an option, generally the strongest, and Bane is an option, generally the most durable at the cost of doing less damage. All of those build archetypes can benefit from a wand like this. So what we're going to be crafting here is a wand that has 2 specific mods on it and will generally have all of its other mod slots filled with rubbish. So this has +1 to the level of all spell skill gems, +1 to the level of all chaos spell skill gems. These 2 mods combined provide about a 28% more damage multiplier to most chaos damage over time builds, i.e. they're really, really good. The rest of the mods on the item are much worse. You will generally end up with an increased spell damage % mod. So you can see here that I've got 32% increased spell damage from the Scholars mod. You could get a very different tier to the one that I've got there. You'll also generally have an attack speed mod, a cast speed mod, and a projectile speed mod. Those speed mods are not guaranteed. They're just the most likely things to roll if you follow the instructions of this craft. So what we're going to do is we're going to play around with fossils. Firstly, you're going to source an opal wand or profane wand, depending upon your preference. It is my preference to use an opal wand almost always. Whetstone it up if you care about it. You probably don't. And then you're going to need to apply an Orb of Alchemy. The reason for the Orb of Alchemy is that you need this to be a rare item in order to be able to use chaotic resonators on it. Now, we are going to use a specially chosen selection of fossils here. And it's an interesting combination here that we're going to be using. So we are using metallic fossils, and you're probably thinking, why on earth are you using a fossil that makes it more likely to roll lightning mods? So what we're wanting to do here is we are wanting to constrict the pool of prefixes that can roll on the item as tightly as possible. So metallic fossils outright ban all physical modifiers. Most of the prefixes that can roll on a wand are physical, or they're elemental, or they're mana related. The other ones generally tend to be the ones that we want. So we're using metallic fossils because they ban physical mods. We are using corroded fossils because they ban elemental mods. Note that corroded fossils make you more likely to roll physical ailment mods, which would be bad, but those are banned because of the metallic fossil. Metallic fossil makes it more likely to roll lightning modifiers, which are bad, but those are banned because of the corroded fossil. Then we're using the Shuddering Fossil because that bans all of the mana modifiers. And so with this combination, there are only 4 possible prefixes that can roll on a wand. These prefixes are +1 to the level of all spell skill gems, +1 to the level of all chaos spell skill gems, plus spell damage %, and plus chaos damage to attacks. However, we're going to ban chaos damage to attacks. The way we're going to do that is by recognizing that that can only roll on item level 83 and above wands. And so we are going to ban those by simply using a wand that is item level 82 or less. So this here was just purchased from a vendor, so it's level 69, which is nice. That came from the Act 10 vendor. You can definitely do this on, and in fact, it's probably optimal to use an exactly item level 82 base, as that will give you the best average tier for spell damage. So that's the starting point for our base selection and for why it's going to work. Now, the next thing as to why this craft works is that the first thing Path of Exile does when it rolls a rare item is it assigns whether it is 4, 5, or 6 mods. This has a strong bias towards getting 4 mods. So 8 times in 12 on average, you'll get a 4 mod item. 3 times in 12, you'll get a 5 mod item, and 1 time in 12, you'll get a 6 mod item. What happens if the only legal prefixes on your item are the very, very rare mod +1 to the level of all spell skill gems, the quite rare mod +1 to the level of all chaos spell skill gems, and then the mod group that grants plus increased spell damage? Well, if you hit 6 mods, you are guaranteed to get 1 from each of these categories. And that's how Horonal was crafted, and that's how we're going to try to craft on a barb into something similar. So we're going to use a metallic fossil, a Shuddering Fossil, and a Corroded Fossil, and see what we get. So our first attempt is a 4 mod outcome. That is the most common outcome, and it is complete and utter trash. That's going to be what you'll get every time you get a 4 mod outcome. It will be complete and utter garbage, but that's fine. We're going to keep trying. We may not get there here. You'll notice that we've got a 5 mod outcome. So we have the Apprentices mod as a prefix, and we have +1 to the level of all Chaos spell skill gems as a prefix. So this is a failure in the sense that this is not good enough to not roll over, but it gives you an example of exactly what we're going for here. And now we'll give it 2 more tries. We may not get there before we run out of reagents, but that's fine. And here we got +1 to the level of all Chaos spell skill gems. Interestingly here, this is a rare outcome. We did not get spell damage %. The best outcome you could realistically hope for will be to get a 5 mod item that has +1 to the level of all Chaos spell skill gems, +1 to the level of all spell skill gems, and then benchcraft on tier 1 spell damage. But unfortunately, with no +1 to the level of all spell skill gems, that mod is so rare that we're not going to go without it. And here's our next attempt, and again, we haven't got there. This is a 5 mod outcome that's got our Chaos spell skill gems. So what's your average chance of getting Horonal? It's about 1 in 12. It's about 1 in 12 that the game allocates you 6 mods, and once you're allocated 6 mods, you are guaranteed to get what you're looking for. If you roll 5 mods, you have a 1% chance roughly of getting what you're after, and if you roll 4 mods, you have a practically 0 chance of getting it. So that's the crafting question. Hopefully that's been useful. It is something that you can definitely do in a solo self-found environment, but your hardest part is going to be getting those Shuddering Fossils in. Corroded Fossils are pretty common. Shuddering Fossils are quite a bit rarer, and Metallic Fossils are very common. So that's going to be what you're going to need to do, is target the delve mines and try and get those specific fossils. If you're in a trade-enabled league, then what you can do is simply trade for them. Usually you can get Shuddering Fossils for less than 10 Chaos. Corroded Fossils can be 10 Chaos on day 1 of a league, but they do fall off pretty quickly. And the Metallic Fossils and Powerful Chaotic Resonators at the time that I'm recording this are practically free. So you should be able to get yourself 12 attempts for about an Exalt and make yourself something like this. If you get unlucky, maybe it'll take you 2 or 3 Exalts to get worth of reagents to get there. Hopefully that's been useful. If you've got comments or questions, definitely fire away below. Otherwise, may your Val Orbs have interesting results. Don't use them on a wand that you generate this way. There's just no payoff. And also make sure that you always remember it must be item level 82 or less, otherwise you will have a bad day.